Hey, Better North, happy Wednesday. I hope you guys are all having a fantastic day. Today we are on day 6 of obedience to the Lord in the midst of change. And then the scripture for today is Hebrews 5, verse 8. It reads, Son though he was, he learned obedience from what he suffered. So just to kind of outline the devotional today, talked about the idea of obedience and really specifically the idea of obedience in hard times. It talked a lot about how obedience is difficult, especially in those hard times. And it also talked about how Jesus was still obedient to God, even though he was just under so much stress and so much just pain and so much pain. I thought back to Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane, right before he was crucified, where he was under so much stress he began to sweat blood. And even in that, even under all that fear, all that pain, and that stress, he was still obedient to God and still obedient to God's plan and God's will for his life. And then the devotion talked about how we need to have that same type of obedience so that even when we're going through hard times, even though when things are difficult, when things are hard, we still turn to God, we still learn to obey him, learn to follow his commands. And then this was definitely a difficult passage for me, especially like coming in a time where I haven't been that obedient to God, especially these past couple of weeks. Just for full transparency, the past couple of weeks have been some good parts, some bad parts. I've noticed that I've spent a lot of time prioritizing my grades, prioritizing classes and studying, and then not really giving the attention on Jesus. And with that, also all of the stress, all of the confusion, all of the impatience, I found myself turning more and more towards pornography and more towards other sinful desires to try to satisfy myself, to try to escape from stress, instead of being obedient, instead of going towards God. And so I just want to say that if you haven't been obedient in this time, if you've been like me and you haven't been spending that time with Jesus, haven't been encountering him daily, it's okay. But I will say that the best time to start being obedient again is today. No matter how off these past couple of weeks have been, no matter how far or how stressed you've been, no matter how much sin you've been replacing with God during these times, the best time to be obedient is again today. And so for some reflection questions, think back the past couple of weeks and what areas have you been obedient to God in? What ways have you been solid in? What ways have you been seeing growth? And also, what areas of life have you not been seeing obedience? In what ways have you been turning towards sin? In what ways have you been neglecting God's calling? In what ways have you been trying to feel your own agenda before God's? And then just as a prayer, just pray for obedience and also spend some time confessing to God the ways you haven't been obedient. So for me, that's the ways I've been pursuing my own desires instead of God's, and the way I've been focusing on academics instead of him. So take some time confessing that before him to be able to show the ways that you've been falling short, and also pray for just the strength to be obedient to God. Pray that his spirit could really guide you, and that could really guide us to encounter him more in these next couple of weeks and as quarantine extends, maybe into May. So yeah, I hope that you guys have a great week, and then hopefully I'll see you guys soon this Friday at IB Large Group. Bye guys.